Hitting the reset button in life is sometimes the best thing you can do. And in your journey to try to quit smoking, that reset button has the ability to change your life for the better. In fact, it could be the most important health decision you have ever made. Everybody, I think, has a different road to reaching that successful outcome. It's going to be completely different. So we're not going to blanket this with one approach, but get into the mindset. And if you need some motivation, some advice, just a community who knows how you feel right now, then please help me welcome our panel of experts coming from all varying degrees here. I absolutely love it. So we've got Steve Mechen, former smoker and handler of snakes, yes, as we know on the show. Dr. Leila Kasim, general practitioner, who has never smoked a day in her life and is nearly 40. I'm sorry that I'm saying that out loud, but just look at the state of her skin. Then we've got the gorgeous Nikki Taylor, one of my absolute besties here, who's trying to quit smoking amidst this crazy industry. And then Yasmin Gaby, the registered counsellor, hopefully to pick up the pieces of our psychology as we all fall apart trying to figure this one out, because it's big and it can change the trajectory of your life. I say that to you, Nikki, because all of this is going to fall on you as the one we're trying to motivate. It's okay. But I'm gonna start with you, Steve, because normally you make us want to have a cigarette every time you come here just from stress, because you're bringing poisonous snakes and things. But you were smoking 2 packs a day.
Yeah, it was heavy.
Were you forced to stop? Because that says to me at some point your health is going to crumble. Why change?
No, I changed. It was purely just my own decision. Me and my father were having a conversation about vaping, and he stopped smoking 11 years ago, which is fantastic, and he started vaping. So I said to him, I put the point to him that he swapped one habit for the other. So, to prove a point, I put down the cigarettes and I went cold turkey. So I did that on the 9th of February, and here we are, still going strong. Sheer
pig-headedness. That's why you did this, just to prove your dad wrong. I love that, man. No, that, whatever motivation you need. Congratulations, dude.
Thanks.
Because that's a lot, and it's going to affect your health.
It does.
And you feel it when you stop and you suddenly see your lungs wake up again. Not in a huge amount of time. The recovery process is great. Doc, tools to use, physical tools, because we know that this is a physical thing that's going on. We love to make it emotional, but it's a physical thing that our body is craving. What tools have worked well in your space?
So essentially, you know, there is a pharmacological and non-pharmacological aspects of managing or assisting someone to stop smoking. But I always say that it's not only about what we can offer as GPs, it's about the patient. So for your, in terms of your example, you stopped and it was your decision. And I feel like it's important for the patient to have insight and information of risks, of dangers associated with smoking, and that sort of helps you make your decision, having the insight and knowing what smoking can do to the body and how it can affect the body.
It's almost like there are a number of ways that'll work, and proven track records. But if you don't get the motivation right, none of them will actually work.
Exactly.
Nikki,
Yeah.
why do you want to stop? Let's start there, because clearly you are motivated to want to stop. What is that? Is it a fear? Are you just sick of it?
It's not good for your body. Nothing about it is healthy or good for you. Not for me or anyone around me. My partner has asthma, so it kind of plays on that as well.
And she might have forced you to come on the show today.
Just a little bit.
She plays in our space 100%. As well.
100%.
So why was this now the time to do it, and why can't you? Why haven't you stopped?
Why not now?
Yeah.
Why any other time? Why haven't I stopped? I think I work in a high-stress environment.
Yeah.
And it is a crutch to me. And it's also really a bad habit. I did stop for about 3 years previously, until I came back into this
our beautiful, crazy world.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, why not now?
Well done, you. Well done. And you've got people around you, and no judgment. I think that's going to be the word of the day, is judgment, because that seems to come in before we find solutions to things far often, when we put all of our baggage on family members, friends, partners that are wanting to do it. The psychological element here was the tipping point for Nikki. Why is the psychology behind smoking almost as important as the physiology? How do you approach this in your space? Where do you normally start the journey?
I think it's always obviously with the self, right? The idea of me and the impact that I think Nikki would give up smoking because it impacts your life in some way. And how does it impact your life? And that's where the self comes in. And the big word you use is judgment. It's self-judgment. I think the biggest thing we have to look at here is the shame factor.
Yeah.
Like how much shame we go into the spiral once we... and I always say, forgive yourself and start again, right? That's the whole point here, is that you'll spiral out, but you need to bring yourself back in. How quick can you get back on that horse metaphorically. So it's not so much about giving up, but starting over and over till you can.
Yeah.
So
and every day becomes that, because it's one of those things, unfortunately, that doesn't go away once you've quit. I'm sure there must be moments where you are like, oh, you catch a whiff on the wind, or you have a stressful day. You maybe take one too many bites and you're like, did I milk that cobra or not before this? I'm not sure. But have you had those dark moments where you have transgressed or
Most
been
definitely.
close?
Well, I've been close quite a few times, especially when you walk past a building and somebody's outside smoking and you smell it. When you first stopped, the temptation to start smoking again is very strong. But I was speaking to a friend of mine last night, and she's been stopped for 25 years, and she said she still feels like that.
Wow.
So I don't think that ever goes away, but it's a willpower thing. So I think that's where the psychology comes in, because you would have to just remind yourself, no, I don't do that anymore, and remind yourself of the reasons why, health benefits and whatever motivated you to stop in the first place. Keep that in your mind, and when you get those moments, just let that override the feeling to want to pick it up
And you
again.
start to feed off that feeling of success, where it becomes less judgment and more like, wow, I'm doing it again. Oh, I'm having another day. Another day. This is 2 weeks. And your lungs will thank you for it.
Exactly.
Physically, what happens to your body when you smoke for a long time?
So there are so many things. Smoking can affect your lungs. That's the first thing we think of, because you're inhaling the tobacco, the nicotine. And I just want to say something about nicotine. Nicotine, that's what makes you addicted. It releases dopamine from your brain, and that makes you feel good. So that's why people are addicted to smoking. Well, that's an element as to why they crave smoking, because it makes them feel good. But talking about side effects and risks, so smoking can affect your skin. It can cause an increased risk of developing cancer, specifically lung cancers. And one of the greatest risk factors for any cardioembolic event, such as strokes and heart attacks, is smoking. So stop smoking and you can reduce your risk by 2 to 4 times.
Wow.
It's very important.
Maybe we should start with that. You can decrease the risk of yourself dying very, very dramatically. And it's crazy for us to say this, because I've been a smoker throughout my life at different times because of this industry as well. So, Nikki, I get you. There's a zero judgment in that space. It requires then a toolkit to use, I would say, psychologically. What's the first step?
I think the main thing to realize, you said the feeling of success. The feeling of success is just a chemical in your body called dopamine, right? It's just that.
You can get it from somewhere else.
Exactly. It's healthier ways of increasing your dopamine. So when you're taking that cigarette, your cup is empty, essentially. So all you're doing is you're going to fill up your cup. So if you figure out how to fill the dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, we're not looking a full cup, we're just looking this much, a quarter way. It gives you enough to be able to sustain whatever's going on. Because essentially smoking is a dummy, right? If you think about it,
it's a crutch, for sure.
Like if you look at it as a pacifier, you're just doing something in that minute to comfort yourself. So what can you do in that space to comfort yourself? It's as simple as that, but simple but not easy, right?
For sure. Like all the greatest things in life, a worthwhile shift must come at a cost, at a challenge, and you've got this. So basically, Nix, all we need to do is just make this entire industry a little bit less stressful, and we're fine. I think we're both going to be okay. Bottom line, get judgment out of the equation. As much as you are angry with yourself for doing the damage that you've done, you can address that, reverse it dramatically fast, but you need to make that decision. Quitting smoking is potentially the most important decision that you could ever make when you look at the consequences of not doing it. And that's for your health, for your overall well-being. And thanks to NICORRETTE, you have the best partner and community of people around you to get you through even the toughest of moments. We've got your back.